TV got the ladies jumping. Just some of my crew taking care of business, tweeting, blogging, keeping connected, keeping networking social. You guys are gonna love this. Why cry when you can Wi-Fi? Come on.
Who's a thirsty widow bubba then?
Oh man, you're gonna edit that out, right?
Well, if you just tuned into the 1873 FM, I thank you for tuning in and making the 1873 FM your channel of choice. This is the Santon Express morning show, and yes, glad to be of service. And yes, when you're looking at conversations that matter, one of the fundamental conversations that matter each and every day is that the role that international relations play in as far as bridging the gap, bridging the divide amongst nations when it comes to securing the kind of future that we all want collectively. And the kind of future that I want personally as Tinashe is a future which is inclusive, a future which is progressive, and a future which is prosperous. But how best can we all play a part in securing this future? It requires each and every individual also adding their voice on issues that matter. So this day happening to be the 26th of March, when you're looking at history, Israel and Egypt actually signed a peace agreement in a ceremony at the White House. Egyptian President then Anwar El Sadat and Israeli Prime Minister Menachem Begin signed a historic peace agreement ending 3 decades of hostilities between Egypt and Israel and establishing diplomatic and commercial ties. Less than 2 years earlier, in an unprecedented move of an Arab leader, Sadat traveled to Jerusalem, Israel, to seek a permanent peace settlement with Egypt's Jewish neighbor after decades of conflicts. Sadat's visit, in which he met with Beijing and spoke before Israel's parliament, was met with outrage in most of the Arab world. Despite the criticism from Egypt's regional allies, Sadat continued to pursue peace with Beijing. And in September 1978, the two leaders met again in the United States, where they negotiated an agreement with U.S. President then Jimmy Carter at Camp David, Maryland. The Camp David Accords, the first peace agreement between the state of Israel and one of its Arab neighbors, laid the groundwork for diplomatic and commercial relations. 7 months later, a formal peace treaty was signed. So, looking at the relations also between South Africa and Israel, you will realize that Israel relations with apartheid South Africa was amongst the 33 states that voted in favor of the 1947 UN petition plan recommending the establishment of a Jewish state in Palestine, and was one of the only four Commonwealth nations to do so. On 24 May 1948, 9 days after Israel's declaration of independence, the South African government of Jan Smuts, a long-time support of Zionism, granted de facto recognition to the state of Israel just 2 days before the United Party was voted out of office and replaced by the pro-apartheid National Party. South Africa was the seventh nation to recognize the new Jewish state. On 14 May 1949, South Africa granted de jure recognition to the state of Israel. The Israeli interest in South Africa sprang in part from the presence of about 110,000 Jews in South Africa, a figure which included more than 15,000 Israeli citizens. And looking at Egypt-South Africa relations, the relationship between the governments of the Arab Republic of Egypt and South Africa, the first South African mission in Egypt was established in 1942 as a consulate general. Egypt maintained its diplomatic relations with South Africa until 1961. Egypt enforced all international sanctions on South Africa government, and after 1979, unofficial relations and military tensions were eased. Ambassadors were exchanged in 1990. Egypt has an embassy in Pretoria, South Africa, and South Africa has an embassy in Cairo. Both countries are full members of the African Union, G24, Group of 77, and non-aligned movement. And when you look at the role of international relations, you'll find that they play a critical role in as far as bridging the divide. We see right now, as we are faced with this COVID-19 epidemic, countries also coming in as far as playing their part in helping in combating the spread of the coronavirus. Recently, Jack Ma made a huge donation towards most countries on the African continent in order to be able to fight the coronavirus. Many other countries continue playing a critical role. United Arab Emirates being one of the countries that is also playing a fundamental role in ensuring that at the end of the day, most countries, South Africa included, can also be able to fight this coronavirus. And each day we need to take time to salute individuals who voluntarily play a part in ensuring that at the end of the day we are able to build these communities, these societies where we live with each other as one, in without looking at the other individual as a foreigner, because many times those individuals that we think that are not important in our communities, they also have a great part for them to play in as far as ensuring that we secure the kind of future that we all want. So Marcy Wilk says a mask worn on your neck like that brings whatever you were catching with it back to your mouth. Marcy, I had to put it there for a few minutes as I have to go ahead with the show. But nonetheless, I can dispose of this and be able to get another one, which is already available in my office. And shortly, we'll also be speaking, we'll be having a conversation in as far as the COVID-19 value chain, the business of of the coronavirus. So let's get also to understand, particularly when it comes to this issue of masks, hand sanitizers, and many other things that are essential in as far as curbing the spread of the coronavirus, and but more importantly, just looking at the value chain in itself, because many times we actually do not know who is who in the value chain and where to get some of the essentials that are needed for us to be able to combat the spread of this virus. So on that note, keep it locked on your channel of choice. In 5 minutes time, we'll be joined in conversation with Mr. Mutunga Mawere, chairman of the 1873 network, as we get to understand how best we can be able to bring about order and structure when it comes to the COVID-19 or the coronavirus value chain. Stay tuned to the 1873 FM, your voice, your power, your voice on issues that matter, your power to inspire new thinking, new outcomes, and new possibilities. Sounds of the 1873 United Artists. We is a track titled "We Are All the Same."